I'm interested because many times I've seen your music described as rock or metal or a little bit of both. How do you all tend to describe the music you make?
Well, it's definitely rock and metal. I would put it in the metal category in the respects to what I've always thought metal was. Metal has changed, and there's so many different styles of it, from being very melodic or neoclassical to being death and satanic metal and black metal. But I'd put us in the melodic metal rock category. It's heavy, but we're not promoting Satan or anything like that.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
least we're clear. Well, I'd love to know some of the musical influences you had when you were growing up. Did you listen or were you a fan of certain artists in particular?
I really was, and there was quite a few of them because I had very early influences coming at me as a child because I had an older brother, 10 years older than me, who was quite hip on buying. Um, in his day, 45s were quite a common thing. So every week he would come home with a new 45. Plus, he'd have albums that he bought or albums he borrowed from friends or whatever. So I got to hear all the stuff that was happening then when I was a kid. So uh actually, like, even hearing the Beatles, was they were a fantastic band, and their music will never get old in my opinion, and it certainly uh left an impression on my mind when I saw what Beatlemania was when it happened. I said, well, geez, I want to do that too. And and yeah, so they were definitely a one reason why I wanted to do music. And but music kept evolving. It's kind of funny though, if you think about the Beatles, they were one of the first bands where I heard a distorted guitar on, like or Helter Skelter or something. But music had kept evolving. Along came Jimi Hendrix, and that was pretty freaky stuff for me to hear as a kid. And there was the Cream. So I was really getting input from the most coolest stuff that was coming out. Even though I was just a little kid, I was still listening to it, and I was taking guitar lessons. So my other family members who all played an instrument too, they would encourage me to try and learn little riffs from different bands like the Cream, Sunshine of Your Love, try and figure that out. Meanwhile,
Those
I'm blinking
iconic
around.
riffs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember trying to figure that out when I could barely press the strings. Excuse me. And yeah, so it there was a lot of stuff I got to hear when I was young. And then when I got a little bit older, my friends started turning me on to even newer, cooler music, like the first Black Sabbath album was quite a new sound. When I heard that, you know how the first song starts with the rain coming down and then that heavy riff, I just went, wow, man, this is heavy and this is new music. And that really got me interested in that metal sound. And that's when I had to get an electric guitar, of course, and try to figure out how to make it sound like that. Yeah, really. Black Sabbath, of course, there was Alice Cooper, and David Bowie. A bit of, Bowie was glam rock and Alice Cooper was shock rock, and it was good to look at both because they were both happening. And other bands like, say, Iggy Pop or Status Quo from England, they had great rock and roll. And geez, I was always interested in the guitar. And one guitar player that had a serious impact on me was Johnny Winter, because his playing was just fantastic. And I I listened to those his Johnny Winter live and album is what it's called. It was recorded somewhere in California, live, and listening to his riffs, I had to figure them out. I didn't know how he was doing them, but I just kept slamming away on that guitar until I could get my fingers going like that, right? And yeah, I spent endless hours just making my fingers work and using my ears and um, really trying to piece together the stuff that I thought was so great. Um,
That makes you determined.
it, yes, I was very determined at a young age. And along with doing that, I always found that notes were flying through my head and ideas for songs because I had had so much input. I would start singing my own songs in my head. They would just come up, and I'd be walking down the street singing this new song I've never heard before because I just invented it. Yeah, it was pretty
You're like,
cool.
isn't that catchy? Maybe that'll
Yeah,
make
yeah, that's right.
I'm incredibly excited because you do have this new positive, uplifting song, Live It Up, out right now. Did you all set out to make an uplifting, sort of inspiring, inspirational track, or did it just happen upon you and it turned out for the best?
Um, it certainly did turn out for the best. I started out with three words: "Live it up," as the chorus, right? And then for the verse section and the pre-chorus, I had the guitar parts and I had what they call an Aztec vocal. And yeah, so I started kind of just mouthing off these melodies that had no actual words. Um, and then I would have to think about my melody and the phrasing I had and create words that matched the phrasing that I had come up with, and then find the right notes to sing over top of the guitar parts. And so I pieced together the song and the lyrics, and then I did it in my studio. And then when I got the producer involved, we re-recorded the whole song, and he had a vision with the lyrics that really clarified the objective, which was live it up and convey a positive message with what we want to do with our life, which is, as I've quoted, we may at times be down in the dumps or whatever because of stuff that happens, like getting your bank account hacked or something like that. But we've got to live it up, and we're in it to win it, right? So we've got to keep going, and that was in part the producer's lyrics who really helped me portray what I had to say. He helped me really make the lyrics a strong, clear story.
I'm curious then, what's your songwriting process? Is it like that where where you often get those little Aztec thoughts in your mind, melodies and such in your mind, and then you craft it around that? Or do you need to have a lyric that comes into your head before you figure out a beat that may be matching it?
Um, Believe it or not, in most cases, it's quite the opposite of that. It usually it rarely starts with a vocal idea. Um, there was one song on the Valley of the Kings album, Black Eyed Susan, where I did actually come up with the vocal line first, but usually the songs are created on my guitar with a guitar part, and then a vocal melody will come to me as I'm playing the guitar. And sometimes some words will come, like "live it up" came to me just naturally, that those three words. um but lyrically, it's usually a melody that doesn't have words, and then I have to create words that hopefully are conveying the story. That if I have a chorus like "live it up," hopefully the words convey a story that's in line with that. But I do have a funny little story to share um, from a, a movie which was quite popular, the Beatles anthology, um, three-part series that came up. There was a point where John Lennon and Phil Spector and Yoko Ono were in their studio working on a song, and they looked out the front window, and there was kind of this almost homeless looking guy uh, lying under a tree in his front yard. And they said, "Look at this guy. What's he doing out there?" And they said, "Well, let's go find out." So the three of them went to John Lennon's. They went from his studio to his front door and opened up the door and called the fella and said, "Hey, come here." And so the guy was excited and he got up and he came to meet John Lennon and Phil Spector, Yoko. And John said, "What are you doing out here?" And the guy said, "Well, I just wanted to know what you meant when you said this in this certain song." I don't remember what it was. It was a certain line in a Beatles song. And John said, "Well, I really didn't mean anything. I just slapped some words together and put them together." He says, "I don't really care what I say." He said, I could write about me having bacon and eggs for breakfast. It doesn't matter. I just have an idea and I stick words to my melody." And I thought, hey, that's the way I do it too. That's straight from John Lennon.
You're in good company then. You're
Yeah.
on the
So now I know I'm not doing it the wrong way.
the wrong, yes. If an icon like John Lennon could do it, certainly it's good enough for Michael J.
It's working.
When it
Now I
comes
know
to,
what to do. Now I know what to do with those ideas that
there you go.
the lyrics aren't clear. I just kind of come
Anybody
up with
ever
something.
and everyone ever questions your songwriting, just say, I did it doesn't they're nothing. I just crafted it around words that sounded good to me.
Yeah, yep, yep. We'll do it that way. And it's funny the stuff that you wind up writing too, because sometimes you may wind up with a story that you hadn't preconceived until you start putting lyrics together and realize that you're developing some sort of story out of the ideas that came to you because I listened to the phrasing I had recorded with the Aztec vocal.
Well, then when it comes to the production side of the music you make, you mentioned that your producer sort of helps you flesh out ideas for songs, but how much of a hand do you all have when it comes to the production side of the music you make? Do you have much of a say in here? You want more guitars over here or a little bit more higher on the vocals here, such and such like that? Or do you tend to have someone you trust and help you craft everything essentially that way?
I am kind of at it 50-50 with the producer. It's my song and he'll throw ideas at me. I'll consider them if and I'll even try them out if I don't agree. But usually he's good ideas. That's why I work with him. And I'll try out his ideas and if they're good, I'll go with them. Um I'm happy to have a producer because finishing a song, like writing a song is one thing, but finishing it so it is crafted and engineered so it can be world class quality where everything is really cool and what what people would expect or and hope for. The producer helps in all cases for any artist. The producer really helps polish the song. So yeah, but we do work together. And back to the mixing of the levels and whatever. I I'm at a lot of the sessions where we're. I mean, I do leave the engineer producer to work on things at times, but I show up as often as I can and listen to everything and make my comments and have them make adjustments regarding how my ears are hearing things. I may notice things that aren't balanced the way I would want to hear them, and quite often I'll notice that some vocal harmonies should be there that haven't been recorded yet. Stuff like that, right?
It's the little things that work you guys work together on to piece the ultimate picture that comes to fruition.
You said that quite accurately, you know, and there's a thousand little things. And that's a line that my producer says. It's not one big thing, it's a thousand little things that make it all great. And it was funny in putting together Live It Up. It's a 3 or 4 chord song, but there was thousands of situations where we interacted, the producer and I, to really craft the ideas to make that 3 or 4 chord song be what it is. We had to really think about it and get rid of anything that wasn't as good as it could be and come up with stuff that was really good. So it all worked.
Does this mean that this is a prelude to an album or a EP coming here shortly?
It does. Yes. Yes. There will be we're going to be releasing singles for the next little while, which is a build up towards an album, but we'll probably put out an EP halfway through in 2024, which is, well, it's not too far away now, but
Yes, around the corner.
it's just around the corner. So we've already started on a second song um, in professional production for for the album, and it's called Real Love. And it's a heavy song. It's I know the name sounds kind of kissy kissy, but it's it's
Are you flirting with me, Michael?
sure, kissy kissy. um yeah, little things like that just come out of me, of course. And um geez, what was I saying? You got me
Yes,
there.
kissy kissy. Yes, you were
Oh
telling me,
yeah,
you know,
that
it
I'm right
sounded.
back on track now. Um, yeah, the song, even though the title may sound one way, the song is pretty heavy and it's got some really cool uh heavy chords and a great drive to it, right? It's heavy, it's good. And fast. It's really fast as well. Yeah.
All right. Well, have my fingers crossed that things work out and that sooner at the start of the year, the very first of the year, we'll be getting some new music from the band, and I'm looking forward to more music to come. What would you like to say to people who are fans and supporters of the incredible music the band continues to make?
Well, I'd like to thank everybody who's a fan, everybody who's heard the music and likes it. Thank you for liking MJM because I make this music for you guys to rock and roll. Let's rock and roll, and please share it with your friends. We're we're here, and we want the world to know about us, and we're making music for the world that likes rock and metal. And I've been doing this all my life, and it's something I can't stop doing. So I I appreciate everybody's support. Please spread the word. MJM rocks.